So you recently met with the Trump administration to talk about the grave issue of human trafficking.
Yeah.
What can you share about the efforts that you guys are working on with the new administration?
So it was, it's a bit, it was encouraging to me. So
Good.
it's apparently Ivanka Trump who's gotten very interested in the issue. There's 21 million people across the world that are victims of modern day slavery and in forced labor, forced sex trade. It's happening in every state in the U.S. It's a $150 billion organized crime industry. And if we care about fighting for the health and education, financial stability of everybody, how can you not deal with it?
So you met with the president.
He was there for 40 minutes. He gathered us in the Oval Office afterwards, and we've got that now famous shot of the horseshoe around the.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there thinking, it would be good if he would convene the big nonprofits as well, not just on trafficking. So, boys and girls. Yeah. So everybody left, and I stayed, and
had a one-on-one.
Had a one-on-one.
What was that like?
He likes to talk. He's engaging. He asked me who I knew in New York. Asked me about the United Way in New York. Told me about being a donor to United Way in New York. I said I know, and I said, you know what we ought to do? We ought to get the big nonprofits together just like you did here, and talk about the private sector and the nonprofit sector. He said that's a great idea. I said I'll talk to Dina about it.
Dina Powell.
Mm-hmm.
Who came from Goldman Sachs,
running the foundation.
Yeah, exactly.
So I try to. It's very interesting. I was a keynote, part of a keynote panel at the independent sector, which is our biggest association in nonprofits, right after the election, and a lot of our sector leans left. And I'm an unaffiliated political moderate.
All right.
And United Way, left to its own, we're nonpartisan and we focus on, but left to our own devices, we start to lean left. And what I said to this group that was very distraught
over his election,
mm-hmm,
yeah,
is focus on policy, not personality.
Okay.
If the administration works on something that matters, focus on it. Hold the administration accountable. I still see today, we're personalizing it I'll just say in our world, and focus on policy, the administration, Congress, Republicans.
Not the words, not the tweets.
Not the words, not the tweets, unless they affect policy.
The words have consequences.
For sure. For sure, and some don't.
Is there anything that you gleaned from that private meeting you had with him? Because most Americans haven't had that. Most journalists haven't had that. He hasn't done, as you know, many interviews. Is there anything that the media is getting wrong on him, or public perception of him is wrong?
I didn't get enough time with him in that regard. He's like every president that I've met. He's a person, and we create caricatures pretty quickly, and you can't help but not. Every person I know is needy, and you've interviewed a lot of CEOs, and it is, and this is not melodramatic. It is lonely in these jobs, and as weird as it sounds, my guess is he's feeling like, who do I trust? What do I and there needs to be a personal engagement with him if you're going to get a real exchange. But that's true with every person, and even more so a person sitting in that chair.
What is the number one thing you want to see his administration do? What's your number one ask?
It's a great question. It's tax reform and policy that embraces building the middle again.
Isn't that what he ran on?
Yeah, but the policy, not personality.
Okay, so it sounds to me like you're saying he said that when he was campaigning. The policy proposals you're seeing aren't doing that, aren't
Not
building
yet.
up.
Not yet. You can't cut dramatically the safety net programs that the administration is proposing to cut, and then say that you're building the middle class.
Will the White House hear from you if you don't see some changes on that front?
Oh yeah. The one thing about being the largest private funder of nonprofits in the country and getting 95% of all of our money from the private sector, from conservatives and progressives, is I relish the fact that we don't take public money. Relish it.
Because you're not beholden to them.
Nope.
You can make them mad.
Have made 43 mad after Katrina, made President Obama mad on tax reform, as he tried every year in President Obama's budget was a cap on the charitable deduction for the highest wage earners. We were the most vocal opponents to it. I personally told senior people in administration, you're going to hear from us on this. It's not right.
Is it true you wanted to run for president as a kid?
Yeah. I did. It's embarrassing to say I did.
Why?
Even after I was 12 years old.
So what about now?
No.
Why, you just don't like the smell of politics these days?
Yeah, I don't. That's exactly right. It's exactly right. I don't think it's where it's happening right now. I've been in Washington now almost 14 years. What I've learned is how to stop stuff. That's what you learn in Washington, how to stop things.